And there we go. And if you can't watch it now, then of course you can watch it later. So I hope this is going to work out properly, because I seem to be having trouble keeping my slides up there and still keeping my notes up there as well. So we will see what we can actually do and actually get this working. I have done this before, really, honest. Okay, let's share screen to start with. So I'm going to be talking about alchemical composting. And let's get the slideshow going, if it will. There we go. And alchemy is something that I've been interested in for ages. And composting is also something I've been interested in for ages, because as many of you know, I'm a gardener and a wildlife gardener. And composting is something we do. Actually, alchemy and composting are part of the same thing, or different ways of doing the same thing. Let's put it that way. Alchemization, you've probably heard of it, and it's often called the precursor of chemistry, which may or may not be true. Actually, Newton was an alchemist, although most people don't know that. But 50% of his writing was on alchemy, and quite a lot of it still survives. So, I don't know. But that doesn't matter for tonight, because alchemy is one of those things that it's about doing the impossible. And it's about, well, it's about this. It's about doing the impossible, as I said. It's about turning lead into gold. That's probably what most of you know. And actually, this has been done in biochemistry, but it's quite an unreliable process. And really, there are better things to do with your life than spend it trying to make lead into gold in that way. But not in the way I'm going to be talking about. Because it's also about the phoenix rising from the ashes. I just love this picture of the phoenix. It's just totally alive and aflame, and it's completely transmuted from ash into a completely new being. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. You probably won't end up looking like a phoenix and rising out of the flames like that. If you come on one of the, if you come and do the work with me, the alchemy work, the alchemical composting work, you probably won't end up like that. So, you know, you can feel reassured on that level. But you will come out of it a different person. You will have shed a lot of stuff, which is what the phoenix does in fire. And you will have left those ashes behind and risen up out of them as a new person. So alchemy is about transforming your life. And actually the ancient writings are all about this too. They talk about it in old-fashioned language that isn't very meaningful to most of us, but it's the same sort of stuff. And it is about transforming your life. Paracelsus, ancient bloke, alchemist, and philosopher and chemist, he used to teach, and used to teach this stuff. And it is rumoured, and I don't know whether it's apocryphal or not, but it is rumoured that when he got a batch of new students, the first thing he would do is walk into the classroom clutching this great big pot, chamber pot full of shit. And he would say, "Here, gentlemen," because they're mostly men in those days, not always, but mostly, "Here, gentlemen, here is your gold." I love that. And it absolutely is. And that is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. How we can turn our rubbish, our garbage, our baggage, our shit into really good stuff that we can form a new life out of. And when we form that new life, we will fulfill our dreams and our full potential. Who'd doesn't want that? Either at home, at work, amongst your friends, in sport, in business, with your kids, however. It's great to feel that you've got all of you going in there and you're really at your best. So, what stops us? I love this. There's manga drawings, but it really works. We have a devil on our shoulders. It's an ancient phrase again, and it's true. We do. There's this devil riding your shoulder saying, oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You know, somebody will laugh at you. You'll feel really stupid. It'll all come a cropper and everybody will laugh at you. Bet you felt that. Bet you've been afraid. Bet you stopped doing something because you were afraid. And this devil was there sort of saying, oh, I won't do that. You know, sort of leery blokes, sort of, oh, really miserable. Eeyore, if you've read Winnie the Pooh. So they stop us. This devil stops us. And it's not very good. And he's not our friend. And he says, well, I should, you know, so-and-so says that, I would do that, you know. And some of these devils, they take on people with the best of intentions in our lives. And they really do care about us and all this sort of thing. But they're actually not us. And they're actually not living our lives. And it's quite possible that they're telling us, oh, I'd buy that house now. Oh, I wouldn't buy that house now. I'd marry that girl. I wouldn't marry that bloke. And all of this stuff. When they tell us that, and we're getting all this stuff from every side, and the devil sort of saying, oh, I go this way, and then all of a sudden he swaps the other shoulder, goes, oh, I go that way, and we don't know what to do. And it stops us. And we've picked up all this baggage, right from being a little kid, sort of, mind you, be careful, don't fall off your bike now. I've often heard some very good mothers that I know say, don't ever say that to your kid, because you put the possibility of falling off his bike or falling off her pony or whatever it is. You put that possibility into their heads when they were doing fine before, and now they might well fall off because they're worrying about what you've just said. I mustn't do that. So telling people what to do and giving good advice is a really 50-50 thing about whether you want it or not. But we've all had it, and we all still probably do a bit of it, although some of us are certainly learning to stop as far as we can. And we're all the devil on each other's shoulders, and we've certainly got one on ours. And this devil is giving us all this cagey advice, telling us to take out umpteen million life insurances, house insurances, car insurances, children insurances, pet insurances, and all this stuff. We might not actually need it. And there might be other ways of doing it. But that's what everybody does. So we do. So we end up looking like this. We end up carrying baggage, struggling with it all on our back, trying to keep it there, trying not to drop it. And this bloke, actually, he's crossing the road from one sort of moorlandy rough area to another moorlandy rough area, and he can't even see that there's a straight road. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. There's a straight road ahead of him. It's all carrying baggage. And very often, as I said, it's not our baggage, it's somebody else's worry or somebody else's baggage or somebody else's stuff. And sometimes that comes about because of a friend, we're caring for a friend, because we're a parent, because things are so at work, because we've got a mortgage and school fees and all this kind of stuff, and we daren't think about doing anything else because we're only just about managing to make ends meet now. As the Red Queen says to Alice in, now, is it Through the Looking Glass or the other one? Can't remember. Anyway, as the Red Queen says to Alice, it takes all the running you can do to stay in the same place. And that's pretty well how this bloke is, except he's not even at the running stage, he's at the staggering stage, desperately trying to keep it all balanced and together and on top of his shoulders. And there's that devil again. And he's saying to you, well, I wouldn't put that down, you might want it, and you'll be really pissed off if you realize you've lost it. And you really don't want to do that. And if you don't turn around, look, it's easier if you just carry straight on. And he's in there, not being your friend, giving you stuff again, more stuff that is filling up yet more of these bags. And there's another problem. Most of that baggage that that bloke is carrying, that you are carrying, that I've been carrying, most of it is way past its sell-by date. I mean, this isn't actually about psychology, it's about milk, apparently. So it's best before, still pretty good at, and why is this still in your fridge in June? And how much of the good advice and the just in case stuff and the I really want to hang on to that because stuff, how much of that is way, way, way past its sell-by date for you? That's something that we sort out, that we can find out, that we can sort and do something about. Because like you don't really want past its sell-by date, or not much of it, in your fridge, although some of it's good. Then you might be okay with the cheese, you might be okay with some things. But mostly, if it's past its sell-by date, and certainly with advice, and certainly with lifestyles, if it's past its sell-by date, you want it out. But, you know, you're all grown-ups, you've all got jobs, you've all got lives, possibly families, all sorts of things. So you've been collecting that baggage for 30, 40 odd years. There's a hell of a lot of it. You've got attics full on your back. And again, as I said, an awful lot of it is way past the time it should be in your fridge, inside you, in your head, a part of what you still believe. So you end up feeling like this. Who hasn't felt like this? I have, still do on occasion. I try to, when I realise that I'm doing it, put it that way, I sort of go, sod it, and back away. But this guy, up and down, you know, he's really pleased with himself. He's got it all working, and then why? And he's got to go and do it again. And it's never stopped, never stopped, never stopped. Do you feel like this sometimes? Again, alchemical composting can help if you do. And so, this is what you can do. This is what I can help you with. Beautiful pictures now, rather than men chasing plates or poor souls carting half a dozen suitcases on their backs. This is an old picture, not a very, very old picture, but quite an old picture. And it is about alchemy, and it's from alchemical old drawings. And it's 4 different spheres: black, white, golden, and red. And that's how it is in alchemy. And in the old alchemy, it's quite different. Well, it's not quite different, but they say it very differently because it's old-fashioned language again. So the black stage, they call it nigredo. You can sort of get the idea, it's Latin again. It means the blackening. And this is the sorting stage for us. This is when you first come and decided to work with me in our first couple of sessions, and we're sorting out what is past its sell-by date and what isn't. We've all done cupboard sorting, old clothes sorting, attic sorting for ourselves and for other people. So you know how hard it can be. And you may be one of those people, my husband's certainly one, who he has to read everything from front to back before he dares think about throwing it away. I'm afraid I'm the other end of the scale. So we are Jack Sprat and his wife. And whatever, you have to sort it. To do this and decide that's going out and that's staying. Because some things up there, you'll think, I've forgotten I even had that, and it's really useful. And some things you'll think, I have forgotten I even had that. Good God, why did I keep it out? Doing this for somebody else to help you is really useful, because you'd be surprised at how many times you'll find that you actually have, I don't really want to throw that away, and you do it all with gritted teeth. And it's really hard. And that's where I can be encouraging and teasing and a bit wicked now and again, and whatever you need to help you chuck it. And when you've got the chucking pile done, then, and that's sort of like in the compost caddy, like one in your kitchen. So you just put it in there, we keep putting it in there until we've got to a stage where you feel that's done. And then we tip that into the compost bin. We tip the garbage caddy of all the stuff you've collected that you no longer need, that's past its sell-by date, and we tip it into the compost bin. Quite often with clients, it's quite handy if they actually make themselves little models or get themselves little things that symbolize these things. You know, I've had people with sort of like a box, and they write down the things that they're throwing away, like old bad habits and that kind of thing. And they write them down, they put a piece of paper in the box. And then when we get to this stage, they've got a sort of bin, and some decide that they want, you know, a real witch's cauldron, and they're going to stick it in there, bubble, boil and trouble and all that kind of stuff. And it's whatever is fun to you. And then they put them into that pot. That can be very hard too, because some things you say, oh, I can't bear to see it go. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And like in the garden, there's things you can do when you've got the rubbish in composting in the compost bin. There's things you can do to help it along. And there are things you can do to help your rubbish break itself down, rot itself down, and start turning it into compost. In the garden, it's the time when the worms and all the bugs get going, and they eat the stuff and they break it down, and gradually breaking it almost down. We're certainly down to molecules. There are things we can do together that will do the same thing for all this stuff that you have put into your compost bin. And then comes the third stage. That's this one. Citrinato, yellowing. And I feel this is most like what happens with the caterpillar inside the chrysalis. You probably know this, but you know, there's a caterpillar going along the leaves, eating away and getting fatter and fatter. And then comes a time when they're going to stop being a caterpillar, stop eating, and they start building themselves into a chrysalis, and they literally build themselves into it, and weaving this beautiful silk around themselves into this glorious thing. And a shell, it hardens, it becomes really tough. And inside that, do you know what happens to them? Many of us actually call it, what happens to a caterpillar, that the caterpillar becomes butterfly soup. I'm not kidding you. All the shape and organs and teeth and legs and everything that was the caterpillar all goes back to its component molecules. And it all ends up like a soup inside the chrysalis. But you know, there's still some sort of consciousness in that, because the knowing then is able to make that soup come back together into what is going to become a butterfly. People say magic doesn't exist. Tell me about it. How else do you describe what happens with a caterpillar and a butterfly? Oh yeah, it's chemistry and physics and all this kind of stuff. But how does it know? There's stuff we don't know. And for me, magic's about what we don't know. Electricity used to be thought to be magic once. Now we know a lot more about it. So one day we'll probably learn about caterpillars and how they become butterflies. But in the meantime, what happens to you in this third stage, which would be the third month of us working together, is you sort of take yourself apart gently, with my help, into all the bits that made you. And then you put all those bits, because you can't throw them away and you don't want to. You put them all back in a different shape that is becoming the new shape that is the new you. And you're gradually learning what this is going to be, because unlike perhaps what's inside, the butterfly soup, you may not know yet. You've got ideas. And if you remember back, do you remember there's all those dreams? All those dreams you have that you can't do, you can't possibly do. Oh, it's pie in the sky, castles in the air, all this stuff. But you can. And the citrinato is where you start doing it. You start taking all those pieces and putting it together and getting the design, the blueprint for your new life together. And then in the final month, we get into the redness, the rubedo. And this is, and they almost show it, oops, I didn't do that. They almost show it here as almost a phoenix coming up in that redness there. This is the phoenix. This is where the phoenix has come back together and is breaking out of the egg, breaking out of the chrysalis, breaking out of the flames that have burnt him and taken him into this new life. And now you are the new soil that in your garden compost bin has become over the months since you first put it in. And now it's like earth again. It's beautiful and perfect for growing the new you. And it's perfect for growing the new you because it's all still part of you. You haven't thrown stuff out completely. You've thrown old habits out, and bet your life, the old ones that are thrown out, they will not have been yours. They'll be ones you've acquired from other people. But the stuff that is part of you, that is your own belief system, your own being, your own reality, that you won't have thrown away, but you'll have cleaned it off. That's what's happening. Whoops, I keep doing this. That's what's happening in here and mostly in here. And now it's coming out and it's coming together into the new you, into the new life that is you. And I love this next picture, which you keep getting little flashes of. Let's go to it properly. You emerge. You emerge from here. And this picture, it's sort of like an emerge from in the Earth sphere, maybe the galaxy, or maybe just the solar system, and out into all this newness, all this new stuff where new things are happening. And the person goes there. And the person is ready for it, reaching a hand out into the newness, ready to go. Probably scared, who wouldn't be? And that's when you emerge at the end of your 4th month. But I'm still here in the background for my clients, even after they've gone through a really intense and a deep dive into who they are, who they've been, and who they will be. And I'm still there in the background, but I'm really in the background now. I step back out of your life and you carry your life on forwards. You take it where you want to go. But I'm here, so if you want to call me, Ellen, I need to book a session. It's all gone pear-shaped and I don't know what to do with it now. And then we have a talk together. And what's happened, I can't remember last time anything went wrong with this. Difficult, but not wrong. The person is there saying, oh, now I see what to do. I'll go and do that. That'll work. And they go off and they do it, and usually it does. And if a few more glitches and hiccups and things come along, Ellen, can I have a session again? I need one. Yes, you can. And so you come back and we have another go with where you are now. But remember that you are now is so different from the one who started on this alchemical composting process 4 months before, well, probably 6 or 8 or 9 months or a year before, by the time we get to our second or third call after your processing. And it's worth it. And oh, I've got friends who, you know, I saw first 20 odd years ago, and I still know them. And every now and again they say, hey, I need a refurb. We often call it a refurb. I need to go this again. My head's going like this. And I just want to talk this out with somebody and get a bit of sense and pull my threads back together and see where I'm going. And so I'm there for that. So if all this sort of makes some kind of sense for you, if you feel that you might be able to do something and that it might help you to go on a process like this, join me. Book yourself a discovery call. Let's have a chat, see if we're a fit. And if we are, join me perhaps on the Alchemical Composting package. I recommend it. It's a really good one to start with. It really helps you, but you might like to take 1 or 2 sessions separately just to really feel your way into working with me before you do. But that's okay too. That's fine. So if you feel it's right, join me. Come and recharge your life. And let's have a go at all that old stuff in your head attic or emotional attic or wherever it is. All the stuff you don't need anymore. And let's turn it into nice new growing medium to grow the new you in. And plan out your dreams. Planning starts in that whitening stage inside the chrysalis. And then they really get together and they start to solidify. And you come out as the butterfly. And like the butterfly, this is part of what happens in the 4th month. You have to sit on a branch and gradually your wings will dry. And you'll be able to fly. And you have to take in the sun and take in the light and rest yourself. And then you do take flight. And you fly into your dreams. And you fly into making your dreams come true. And they do. I've had so many people say, I never believed I could do that. I didn't even think it was possible. And they're there doing whatever it is. And one of them got a fantastic ecological prize in America for her work in ecology. And she was just an ordinary sort of person. And it started out, she thought. Of course she wasn't. She was herself. But there was too much of herself in here, and she was hiding behind all this baggage that she'd collected over the years. And we've got to drop it and move on and move forward. And then you'll be set off into your new future, and you'll fulfill your dreams and your potential. So if you feel like it, come and do the Alchemical Composting package. Love to work with you. And if you fancy it, here's the website. You can go and find out how. And I shall look forward to hearing from you and working with you in the future. So, bye for now. Been great talking to you. And I shall see you again very soon. I'm going to try and make these a regular thing. And I'm also starting a podcast which hopefully will start out this week. If not this week, it will be next week. Working with this great guy who's sorting me out on all the techie admin stuff that I can't do. So I'm hoping that'll be out. And again, we'll be talking about all sorts of this stuff. Bits and pieces of how to become the you that you really want to be. How to live the life that really makes your heart sing. And once your heart is singing and you're living that life, people around you will be happy too. And your business will prosper and your life will prosper. So, take care, everybody. I shall see you all again soon. Bye for now.